Have you ever looked at yourself in a mirror and you start picking yourself apart? You've achieved something great, but your inner voice is telling you that it's not enough. You're constantly judging yourself on the flaws, the mistakes, the errors that you do in your life. But one important thing that you have to remember is that the way you talk to yourself is more important than you think. Sometimes we say things to people because we are angry, because we're mad, or because that's what we feel. But we don't realize that the things that we say out of our mouth, they inwardly come back to us because they come from us, so it is natural for them to go back in within our own selves. In this particular video, I'm going to be talking about why you constantly judge yourself, how you can get out of that cycle, and the tips that can really help you to continuously be fulfilled within yourself and stop judging yourself. So you may be asking yourself why you constantly judge yourself, why you cannot come out of that cycle. Okay, here are some of the things that are really going to help you to understand that. The first one is social comparison. From a very young age, we are taught to measure success and happiness against other people. The good example on this would be like when you were a young child, your mom always made comments like, oh, John, he has bought a new car, or his son has graduated, or his son has gone to, Harvard University, one of the top universities. Oh my God, Laura, she just got married, she's got a child, and now they're moving, to Italy, and they're going to live a very good life. Or sometimes your mom would be like, you know what, let's go and visit this auntie. And when you go to visit this auntie, your mom is like, oh, they have done so well for themselves. Their child is doing great, is achieving so much. And inwardly, that is a conversation that your mom is just innocently having, but it's creating a standard and it's measuring the type of success that you can have. Or for example, you go in school, you perform so well, you get 90%, and when you come back home, your parents say to you, but it wasn't 100. It's 90%. It's not good enough. You feel like your success sometimes is measured upon the grades, upon the success that you get, that your own talent, your own self is underlooked because it does not matter. It's all about hitting that 100% or as close as 96%. Anything with an 80 or anything to 100 really doesn't matter. Environment that you grew in really determines so much the way that you speak to yourself. You have to tap into your inner self, your inner being, and understand where did this judgment come from, because a lot of people that judge other people literally are portraying their fears from themselves whilst judging another person. Judgment to others is inevitable. As a human being, I do judge. We judge and consciously. But when that judgment turns into our own selves, it destroys your self-esteem. It destroys who you are as a person, your own essence, because you're never good enough. You never get it right. You never seem to feel like you're there. When a promotion comes at your workplace, you always just, smile and be like, oh yeah, that's great, that's nice, because you feel like it could have been better. You could have got better. Or maybe you share the news with your parents and your parents said to you, oh, but I had John, he has become a managing director of that company. And you're saying to your mom, I just got promoted to being a manager, managing a team. But now you're telling me about John being promoted to being a managing director. So they are inwardly creating that success or that standard to your own self. So you constantly judge yourself, criticize yourself, and hope one day, your parents will say it. Or one day they'll come to you and they'll say to you, it's okay. Oh, you've done well. Finally, you've hit the mark. Okay? That environment in which you grow in, the environment whereby, or maybe you're the type of person that imposter syndrome has taken over you. And if you don't understand what imposter syndrome is, it's just a feeling of feeling like you're a fraud, despite any evidence of how successful you are. This is something that has happened to me, and I constantly judge myself. Now, if you do not know, I do have a TikTok that has over 300,000 followers. Now, I've had that TikTok for the last, I think, 5 or 6 years. I achieved my success in a span of 4 months. And then after 6 or 7 months, I stopped. I literally stopped. Now, the reason as to why I stopped, and the main reason that I tell people, is because I was burnt out and stressed. That is one of the things. But the thing that really was eating me up and consuming me was imposter syndrome. I always thought that I was a fraud. I thought one day they'll find me out, or maybe they'll say, oh, she's not married, Maybe she's not in a relationship. She doesn't have children. What does she know about relationships? And who is she to tell me about my relationship when she has no evidence of what a relationship, could be or maybe is, in terms of that. So imposter syndrome consumed me that I ran away from creating those videos on TikTok and saying, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to go away before they find me out, before they actually realize exactly who I am. Okay. So imposter syndrome in itself makes you to undermine your work, your achievements, and you tend to praise others over your own self. And therefore the judgment begins in. The judgment sometimes of like, why can I not get it right? Why can I not push through? And sometimes you look around and your friends are going past the line that you want to get to. They're going past everything and you're thinking to yourself, you're judging yourself and you're like, you know what, silly me. Why can I not? You look at yourself in the mirror and you never feel fulfilled. You never feel comfortable. I am going to tell you some of the things that maybe will break that. Do you think that you need to understand in all this is that you need to find the root cause of where that judgment started from, of why you started to feel like that. In most cases, it stems from when you are growing as a young teen, as a young adult, into your adulthood, and it has formed you as a human being, like a big grown adult, but you need to understand where it comes from. I don't talk about things to do with mindfulness or meditation or yoga when it comes to things of judgment, because I personally believe that when you do mindfulness and yoga without understanding where the root cause of this is, it's just covering up the mask, or you're having a shield over your own self, over something that should be brought to the surface. So by unleashing that wound, bringing it out and understanding, okay, this is where it came from. Maybe it came from my parents, it came maybe from, teachers at school, it came from my caregivers, it came from the environment where I came from, and it came from this particular point. Then that's when the meditation comes in. Then that's when the healing comes in. But every single thing I have mentioned, if you're that kind of person, this video is going to greatly help you. And I hope you stop judging yourself and understanding that it's not you. It is not you. Okay? And it starts now. The healing journey starts now. Constant self-criticism does not only stay in your head, it affects your entire life. Let me tell you something. If yours stemmed from your parents, or is telling you that you have not got 100%, you've got a 90%, so it's not good enough. John bought a new car, you haven't bought a new car, so you're still striving. If you think that maybe when your parents maybe go and God calls them and they die, that criticism is going to stop, it will never. Because there was no closure, there was no conversation that was had with your parents to understand why they did that judgment. Because sometimes the excuse could be, we were trying to make you better, we wanted you to achieve more, we wanted you to be successful. But it affected you. Self-criticism is something that can ruin your life. It's something that can stop you from achieving anything in life. It's something that puts you at the back of the room. It's something that even can turn you into an introvert. It's something that literally plummets your growth, like literally retards your growth from anything. Because these are the kind of things that self-judgment does to you. Because self-judgment, it will affect your mental health, making you more anxious, making you more depressed, because you're anxious to the fact that, oh my God, I may fail. Even before you actually fail, you're depressed in a mood whereby you can't get out of your own self, because you look at yourself and you criticize yourself. You criticize how you look. Maybe you're not pretty enough. Maybe you grew up in a society whereby they always say to you that your skin is not fair enough, or maybe they've told you that your hair is not long enough, it's not, coarse enough, it's not straight enough, and all those things have become judgments that you have grown up, that you see yourself in that light. But what it creates this sense of self-talk, negative self-talk within yourself, that actually becomes detrimental and damaging to your own abilities in how far you can go. You don't go further in your life because you have held yourself down due to those self-judgments that you've created within yourself, and you're criticizing yourself. The inner voice has become stronger than the person that you are. No matter the praises, the excellence, the hard work the positive talk that everybody says to you, because you have that inner voice within you, because you have that self-criticism that is always running in your life, it doesn't matter. You'll still judge yourself. It's still a part of you. It's only when you start breaking that cycle that you understand people's praises. The long period of time when people told me that I was good at something, I was great at achieving something, or I was great at speaking to people, or I was great at, particular topics, or I was very hardworking, or that kind of thing. I was like, no, that's fine. No, forget about it. Oh, that's okay. Because in my mind, I never saw myself like that. I always criticized myself and I said, I am not good enough at all with this. I cannot move any further away from this. What are these people talking about? Like, I'm just an ordinary person. And I kept on doing that until one day it was a heavy weight on my shoulder and I said, no, this cannot be my reality. So in order for you to break the cycle, these are some of the tips that really help you. The first one is you're going to reframe those negative thoughts that you've got within yourself. When you catch yourself engaging in negative self-talk, ask yourself, is this thought really true? What evidence do I have to support this? Often, like our thoughts, this self-criticism is thoughts of, distorted perception about how we think about ourselves. When you catch yourself saying something like, it is not 100%, it is just 90%, ask yourself this question: is it really true? Does me having 90% not matter? There are people who have got 50% and are going to fail the course. They're going to fail the class. They're not going to go forward. I am going to go forward with one of the highest scores. 90% is classed as a high score. It may not be 100%, but the truth is, it is a great score. And that is your evidence to support it. So every single time you look and you say, okay, you know what? I don't deserve this promotion. I should have had a different kind of promotion. Like, why? Or for example, you don't get the promotion and then you say to yourself, damn it, I'm never going to be good enough. My parents were right. Like, I spent so much time doing other things and concentrating on, school. I spent so much time concentrating on football or music or dance or anything else. And I never concentrated on the actual things. And now I can't even get this promotion. Ask yourself, is that really true? Is you enjoying, singing and dancing and doing other things, was it a bad thing? You not getting the 90%, was it really a bad thing? Sit down to yourself and say, you know what? I may have not got that promotion, but then it's a good thing. I can learn better and I can achieve better. Or maybe this environment is not for me. Always rephrase back to yourself and say, is this true? I'm not good enough. Is this really true? I can't achieve anything. Is this really true? I can never go where in life. Is this really true though? Then you always have to create self-acceptance. Now, I always say that it doesn't matter if you're a bad person or a good person. Every journey starts with accepting who you are. If you are, you've done something in your life that is not a great thing, that is not a happy thing, always accept it first. When you accept it, then you can work on it. You cannot shield yourself or cover yourself hoping that one day it will go away. No. Accept it. Accept the fact that, okay, I'm judging myself, but the truth of the matter, this is who I am. Think about it this way. If you're someone that was not really good at school, but in getting good grades, but then you were good at dance, accept the fact that academics is not your thing. You are trying to achieve your parents' dream. You're trying to, accomplish that thing that they were not able to accomplish. However, dance is something that you're good at. Accept that. Sit with it and say, dance is something I'm good at. And dance is what I'm going to pursue. And that's where the happiness starts. And accepting that that's how you are. If it's a physical form and you're not quite happy with how you look, you're going to accept, because that is going to be you for the rest of your life. No matter how much you change yourself and do plastic surgeries and change your butt, your nose, your hair, your legs, you're still going to accept that new body that you're trying to make. You have to accept it either way. But your pictures from when you were a child, your parents, your brothers and your sisters will always remind you of who you truly are. So you need to accept yourself first before any other change happens, because self-criticism and inner voice is because you haven't fully accepted yourself. You're still judging yourself. You're still battling things within yourself that you're thinking one day, for some reason, they'll get better. You'll become good enough for not saying to yourself that you're good enough. You're going to achieve better in life for saying to yourself that you will not achieve better in life. What you say out is what comes back to you, and what you attract is literally what comes back to you. How many times have you had a bad thought in your mind and that thought actually happens and you're like, oh my God, I'm a genius. I literally thought about this. No, you are not a genius. You called that upon yourself. You attracted it and it came. And that is what it is. Take time in nature as much as you can. And the reason as to why I'm saying take time in nature, because you need to sit with your thoughts. You need to be in that environment whereby it's really quiet. You can only hear the birds, and hear the trees, and understand truly what it is. You need to feel something. You need to feel yourself. You need to feel the surface of your own self. Bring it up, uproot it, and get to the point whereby you say, I am not as bad as I think I am. I'm the greatest of all greatest people. There is never going to be a you ever in this life. You are the only first copy that will ever live on this earth. It doesn't matter if you're twins. You are still different one way or another. Something within your biology or within your blood and all the DNA stuff makes you different. So if there is never going to be another you of you, why don't you make the you of you have a legacy, have something to live by? Because once you're gone, you're gone. We'll only remember you in pictures and stories and memories. But then within your own self, what kind of legacy have you left? What happiness are you trying to get through your own self? Words can be very detrimental. Things we say to ourselves can, put us down. But take yourself in nature, walk around, go for a run, go for walks. People underestimate why these small things are so important. It's not about losing weight. It's just you taking yourself out in an environment that is very calm and quiet. Self-judgment is not a pretty thing, but I hope it helps you. Remember that self-judgment is something that we all struggle with, but it does not define you. You are not that negative thought. That negative thought is manifesting because of your fears and your subconscious mind that is always thinking of falling and fear. But when you understand the roots of that self-criticism, it will help you break the cycle. I'm going to end this video here, but I hope you really liked it, and I hope it did touch on some things. Let me know down in the comments below what you would like me to talk about when it comes to self-judgment, what you've learned about this, any tips that you can share that anybody else can learn in the comments that helped you with self-judgment, any quotes, any books or anything. Help another person out there. Because you know what? That's what we do. Maybe that's the legacy that will live on this earth. Anyway, my name is Lucia Kao. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.